Hey, man. You know, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I could actually sit back and listen to that little Hey, man, we're in the building, man. We're in the building as we promised we'd be, man. This is Mind Muscle Mastery Podcast. I am Coach Bay.
I'm Queen Eye.
And when we in here, man, as we promised we would be, man, we'll be here 3 times a week, man, providing y'all with the state of health, man, in the Black community. We will be providing y'all with the news and the tea. You know what I mean? With this podcast here, man, it's all about really first and foremost the state of Black health, man, because that is a serious situation, man, and a situation that in a trying time such as this one, man, when our nation or any other nation may be drug into war, man, may be drug into battle. It only makes sense, man, that we are fit mentally and we are fit physically, man. And that's what I promised to bring you. That's what we promised to bring you. The news, man, in a format, in a way that you can understand. Uh, I am a personal trainer, man, as well as a life coach. So we have the certifications to address, man, a lot of different things. We're not just sitting here, man. I'm really not the podcast guy. Uh, but I believe the time is so trying, man. I believe that our people, man, need all the kings and queens to take their position, man, and take their place in the affairs of man and the uplifting of men and women, man, and get in position. You know, if that's not your mind frame, man, then we probably not on the same page. So as we do, man, when we start this thing off, man, we usually start off with an opening statement, something constructive. Today I'm gonna read the opening statement that I normally read, which is to every Black boy and girl, every man and woman who wakes up feeling the weight of the world that questions your worth. Hear this. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not alone. The noise of division, the sting of injustice, and the shadow of fear cannot erase the brilliance that lives within you. Our ancestors built nations with their hands, their hearts, and their hope. Their blood runs through our veins, a reminder that resilience is our inheritance. Every challenge faced today is not a signal to shrink, but a call to rise. The world may try to silence your voice, but your truth is thunder. The world may try to dim your light, but your spirit was born from fire. This is the time to stand firm in mind, to strengthen the muscle of faith, and to master the art of perseverance. The fight for representation, for justice, for dignity, it continues through each of us. And though the path may be steep, we climb together. So lift your head and straighten your crown. Remember who you are and whose you are. You are the dream and the defiance. You are the legacy and the future. You are the living proof that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Welcome to Mind Muscle Mastery, man. There's some powerful words, man, some inspirational words, man, some words that so often a lot of us need to hear, man, because the negativity and the put downs, man, are so frequent, man. The positivity and the roses, man, can be so delayed. So there you have it, man. You know, that's where we stand. Where we kick this thing off, man. Matter of fact, Queen Nas, man, has got some heavy shit going on over there, man, with the tea. We ain't never suffering for a lack of shit that's going on to bring y'all, man. So we'll take a quick break, man. We're gonna come back, we're gonna jump straight into it, man, with the state of Black health, man. You know how we do it. Let's do it. All right, then let's talk about the state of health, man, in the Black community. That's how we start this podcast off. That's how this podcast started. Uh, Again, as I've stated, man, without your health, you are nothing. You know, you can have all the things, you can have all the money, you can have all the weapons, you can have all the people, but without your health, you yourself, you are nothing. Right? So think about that, man. Think about that when you hear me or you hear Nod talk about 20 minutes, an hour a day, 3 times a week. Think about that when you hear about the inactivity and what that causes and what we can prosper over, what we can win over with activity 3 times a week. You know, sometimes for as least as 20 minutes a day, man, can add years onto your life, man. If you don't know about it, man, the hypertension, obesity, diabetes in the Black nation, man, runs rapid. And we're here to address that. Me as a life coach, me as a personal trainer, exercise recovery specialist, we are here to address that, man. So today when we talk about the state of health in the Black nation, man, we're gonna talk about children because that's our future. To me, it's everything. To you, it should be everything. And I'm not talking, just Whitney Houston. I'm talking about in a literal sense, man, those babies that you have running around your house, those babies that you see running around the community, those babies you see running around the mall, wherever you are, that is the future, man. Should you be blessed to see it, that is the future. They will run the future, man. So talking about the state of health in the Black community, we're going to address children's health, which angers me, man. It saddens me because uh, it's not positive. Sure, it's uh, those numbers aren't any more positive than uh, the adult numbers. So, man, they talk about children. It is definitely something that should anger you. And what I just did was move one of the programs that we just established on the site, kingqueenfit.com. You can go to programs. That is calming mind, strong body. Excuse me. If you don't know anything about me and my practice, how I do things, I believe that we start with the mind, man, and then we move on to the body. If we can't get the clutter out of the mind, then your desire to hit the weight room or your desire to create a weight room in your front room or garage or whatever, with King and Queen Fitness Virtual, that's just not really there. So, Black children face some of the sharpest health disparities in the United States, largely driven by underlying social, economic, and systematic inequity. Now, you hear me say inequity, social shit that we ain't getting fairly. You hear me say that when I'm talking about adult health. Now you hear me say that when I'm talking about kids' health. So how do we address that? How do we address the inequity? How do we go about addressing some of the inequities in the Black community?
Vote.
Vote. You hear that?
Gotta vote. Communities gotta come together. Be changed. Gotta be about change.
And that's crazy, man, because, I'll put it out there. Genetically, man, the Black nation is the strongest nation on the face of the planet. And to be the strongest nation on the planet, to look at our past, right? And that's the sin of taking away books out of libraries, things that this administration is trying to do, take books out of libraries, take space out of history, because you can never truly know where you're going and have that passion with that sense of direction if you don't know where you came from. You can't be serious and dedicated in the fight if you don't know what you're fighting for, right? When you fight to the death, it's because you're fighting for principle. You're fighting for something. You understand. So as an American, they try to take, the Black history away, the slavery away, but that is in an effort to make themselves supreme, right? So if you don't, they feel if you don't have anything derogatory to think about me that I've done to these people or to other people, when I say that I'm supreme, then you may believe that, and we don't, what they've done in the past. I mean, that is the past. There's people in our future, in our history coming up to now that have tried to perpetuate that same racist theme. But this administration is the only administration who has gone to this extent, promotes it to this extent, and is pushing it with their power to this extent. So again, when we talk about the socioeconomic uh, inequalities, you got to vote, man. You got to get out there and vote for these people, man, that want to represent your community. Now, don't just vote for them. Find out, fact read, do the background check. Law. Clock in, follow the Mind Mastery, the Mind Mastery, Muscle Mastery podcast. We follow all of these stories. We keep the facts. We keep everything. If we're not reaching out to people to get facts, if we're not reaching out to Washington, if we're not AIing, if we're not going places, either way, we're going to have the facts about a story. We ain't talking about the bullshit sometimes that you hear on TV, because so many news channels are under duress of this very administration. So you're only going to get out of a lot of channels what they want to give you. And that's just a fact, what they can give you without sacrificing their own ass. But here, because we're not governed by the FCC, we're not governed by Brandon Carr, we can bring you the facts, we can bring them to you in a real way, and that's what we'll continue to do. So data from the CDC, the Commonwealth Fund 2026 State Disparities Report, and the Department of Health and Human Services highlight critical facts across key medical focus areas. One is infant mortality and birth inequity. Fatal birth disparities. Black infants die at a rate of 10.6 per 1,000 lives born, which is more than double the mortality rate of white infants. Now, I hate it's always put up against, an individual, but these are the facts. I mean, listen, the truth is the truth, man. Sometimes you hate the truth is as ugly as it is because we're living in it. We're living it, but it's the truth. Okay. And that's just a fact. So Black kids are dying at birth, double the rate of white kids. Why do they put these two groups together? Because I believe we're the two largest social groups of people. All right. I believe that. Maybe. That's one of them research things I'll be talking about. So maternal health link. The crisis is directly tied to maternal care. You hear that? The crisis is directly tied to maternal care, man. And that's crazy, right? That's crazy. So it is the care that Black women get when they are pregnant.
Or lack thereof.
Or lack thereof, that causes the deaths of the children. So we're not getting the same prenatal care. We're not getting the same attention. We're not getting the same love. We're not getting it. And that's just a fact, man. So you say, well, Coach Bay, how do you change this? You vote. Not only do you vote for your leaders, you take your children and you put them on a straight path. And you guide them as the good book, the Quran, anything that you study teaches you, the Circle 7 about your children, you guide your children in the way that they should go. So when they're your age, they're leading in those principles, right? They're in those areas to where they can make those changes. You look at our white brothers and sisters and you say, well, wow, they're doing this, you look at the video, you see the sons, the kids, I love watching Peyton Manning's kid video. Shout out to Peyton and Eli. I love watching their videos of them as a child. Why? Because their dad kept them with that football from day one through college, through high school, all of it. So this is why you see Eli and Peyton throwing the ball. This is why you see superstar quarterbacks, because they were led, as the good book says, they were led up in the way that they should go. They had them guardrails all the way up, man. Yeah, I know it's a work, black parents. I know it's work. I know it's work, but you rather see your son playing football than inside a jail cell. You rather raise him and keep them guardrails than the street being them guardrails. Right? Come on now. Come on now. Severe asthma risk. I went through that as a kid. Severe asthma risk. And emergency room surgeons, nearly 1 in 3 black children, 28% with asthma visit emergency rooms annually compared to just 13% of children overall. So now we're talking about all nationalities. We're there 28% more than any nationality, right? Fatal outcomes. Why is that? Because of the air we breathe, the cleanliness of the environments we're in, right? Hereditary, parents that smoke, things of that nature, right? We don't have the cleanest environment. We don't have the cleanest breathing environment. So fatal outcomes. Black children are 8 times more likely to die from asthma-related complications than white children. And inequality fueled by some substandard housing. What I just say, and inequality fueled by substandard housing and key exposure to environmental pollution. Key exposure and housing to environmental pollution, man. So at day one, when you're striving to be when you're becoming a parent, man, strive to be a parent that works their ass off so you can put your family, your child in the best environment to start off from day one to try to prevent things like that, right? Let's start off thinking about raising our children to be the best and the hard ass work that we got to go through. If you don't want to go through that hard ass work, then keep your penis in your pants. If you're a woman, use the protections you need to use, because this is real, man. This is real. Once they get here, you can't return them. I'm talking about children. Once they here, you can't return them, man. So if you ain't ready for them, man, then keep it pushing, man. We're going to take a break, man. We're going to let Nah take over. Back in a minute.
Today. Much. First thing I want to talk about the 2 teenage killing spree last weekend and killed 5 family members and injured critically the family. The 2 suspects are 15,
Right.
16, Demetri Davis.
Children.
This happened on the east side of St. Louis. And like I said, it happened over the weekend. From the reports that are being told, girl and Shapiro to 3 separate actions over space, 5 families. It stems from arguments between the girl suspect and her family. From the father's interview, it was due to not the mother not allowing the Jameer Davis to live in the home after he'd just been out of his own home for being violent and stealing a firearm.
So they didn't put together a murder plot of their own family.
Put together a murder plot to keep it his girl's family. They would not let.
Because this no good ass dude who's already been proven to be violent at his own house and already got put out his own house, right? But the young lady hasn't obviously been taught, responsibility and role modeling as far as what she's looking for, because if she was, she'd be like, I'm cool, bro. You beating up people at your own house, bro. What would I look like being with you? And hopefully that's not something that she's seen growing up, but that's crazy, bro. That's where we are, man. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Fine. So the time frame of this, like I said, they originally thought it was just over. Actually, has of a week. It started out around July 5th, 7th, something in between there, where these two individuals went to the home of the aunt, Cherie May, where they shot and killed her. Now, the aunt's body went unreported for days.
So everybody who was against this, y'all got it. That's what it seemed like. Everybody who has something negative to say about them two being together, or who was going to have something negative to say, that's who they went after.
And then from there, they went around July 11th or 12th. The cousin, Devin May, and the grandmother, Tricia May, were killed at a housing development.
He killed your grandma over some
that's not
penis? Really?
Early Sunday morning. Oh, and I have to also mention that the grandmother and cousin were, the mother, this young lady, was also shot.
Let me tell you something. As a life coach, man, these kids was more fucked up than just that situation. It takes more. It takes more in your past, more in the back of your mind, more in that closet in your mental, right? It takes more, man. It takes anger. It takes some hurt. It takes some energy. And you got to find that energy. You got to kindle that, man, to kill your people, man, your grandmother, grandfather, mother. This comes from more than just that. That was just the icing on the cake. You see what I'm saying? Two obviously, two positives. Two bombs got together, man. Two fucked up raised kids got together.
Stop there.
And some fucked up shit happened. Check out the rest of the story.
Stop there. Around that same day, around the 12th, they then went to Jones Park. And now at this location, the little girl's brother and sister, her sister was shot at the residence with the mother and the grandmother and the cousin.
And let me say this. All the parents who feel like I just grounded them up, let me say this. Your kids can be fucked up, man, and you don't know it. Your kids can be fucked up and you're not responsible for it. But let me tell you something. If your kids is fucked up and you're not responsible for it or you don't know it, that's because you wasn't playing the role active enough. See, I was one of them parents, man, proactive. I don't believe in, oh yeah, you get some privacy, but not too much. As a parent, I got to know what's going on. And as a kid, I know you don't want me to know certain things that's going on. So I got to pry sometimes, and look some of the places where maybe you don't want me to look, Love your child enough, man, to sometimes go look in their room, man, in their drawers and stuff. Sometimes pick up their phone, man. Because there's stuff going on in their life, man, that sometimes they don't feel comfortable telling you. It's important, man, that you raise them and not let the streets raise them. Right? Because you can't control what the streets is teaching them. Being a parent in no shape, form, or fashion is easy. It is a lifelong commitment. Do you hear me, young lady, talking to you? Do you hear me, young man, talking to you right now? Coach Bay is telling you to have a child that is a lifelong commitment. Not only that, put this in your suitcase. Be picky about who you have a child with. Do you hear me? Be picky. Know who you are dealing with. I ain't talking about the week 1, week 2, week 3, week 6 best guy suit that I got on for you. Right? So that means that we don't rush into anything, right? Because we let this best suit that this guy got on, this best dress that this girl got on for us, we let that time pass. We know everybody put on their best. But that best run out and that real starts showing. If you just be patient with opening your legs or pulling out your penis. If you just be patient about who you love, who you give your number to, who you let around your children. If you just be patient, it'll show itself. One thing that me and the Queen talk about, and I'll put it in this episode before we go to break. I got a 3-time rule, and I'm gonna teach it. I'm gonna put it out here right now. We're gonna teach it to the ladies, and men, you better listen. This is the 3-time rule. Young ladies and women, if you got a man that you are dating, a man that you are considering dating, considering going the next level with, and that man visits your home, and on a particular time, you got trash in your trash can that needs to be empty, and that man walked past that trash can 3 times without saying, hey, I'm going to take this trash out, and you dump his ass, and you dump him fast. You hear me? You dump his ass, and you dump him fast. Right? Coach Bay told you that, right? Because if you got a man that's walking past your trash can 3 times and see it need to be taken out, one, a man with principles by his mother know that trash goes out. His mother taught him that, or his grandmother taught him that, right? So if this man keep walking past your trash can and ain't offering to take it out, well, guess what? The motherfucker's probably lazy, right? And his goal probably ain't, because when I'm inside a woman's house and I want to be, I'm gonna take this trash out, anything that I need to do as a man to show you that I am a man, and to show you I know my role. You see what I'm saying? To show you that I'm not some little boy you gotta teach, you gotta raise, right? So if that trash can is empty, ladies, and that man passes by 3 times, you get rid of his ass, and you get rid of his ass. Coach Bay told me that. We're going to commercial, man. We'll not be back in a second. We go over to Reed. All right, man, we back. A couple of weeks ago, or an episode or 2 ago, we talked about the Trump account. If you don't know about what that is, our president the Don made some Trump accounts, man. Uh, actually, it wasn't just him by himself, but he came up with Trump accounts. You know, the Dell Foundation as well joined in. It was a massive $6.25 billion donation. It was also from Michael and Susan Dell Foundation is providing an automatic $250 charitable deposit to up to 25 million children who are aged 10 or younger, born before 2025, if they live in lower income zip codes. Now, you got a lot of people out there, man, that look like me, you know, who are like, you know, fuck that. That's from Trump. I don't want it. I mean, that ain't exactly the smartest way to go about everything. I mean, if this dude is stealing and doing shit, you know, that he's doing illegally, but, you know, all of a sudden he pop up with something that you can use that's legal, then you take it. I mean, stop trying to shoot the messenger. You know what I mean? Stop, because it come from this person, so what? You know, if it ain't something principled that you finna, you know, you ain't gonna take on corruption, you know, child molestation. These are the things that president is into. It's just facts. I mean, don't get mad at me. You voted for him. You know, these are the facts. You know, but if the man come out with something that's gonna aid and assist your children while he doing all that stealing for his pocket, why wouldn't you be put something in your child pocket? Come on, let's get off to being stupid, bro. Let's get off to being stupid. Let's get off to following shit, bro. Okay, don't follow me off no fucking bridge. If I'm jumping off a bridge, please don't be stupid as hell and follow me there. You know, if look, we got newborn kids. If you got newborn kids, I don't care what community you in, from projects to fucking Broadway. If you got kids that was born before 2025, then they damn well better have a bank account, man, that say Trump on it with some money in it, because it's free. I don't want to hear nothing else. I don't want to hear nothing else about it. It's free. You know, save it. Save it. You know what I mean? Because if you put the best interest of your child having a bank account with some money in it that the governor put in it, you put that over, or you put your dislike for Donald J. Trump over your own child's account that you can have, then that's not smart. You know, that means that you're using your emotion probably over your intellect. Where's the funds coming from?
Yeah.
Well, you had 6.25 billion donated by Michael and Susan Dale. And that's an automatic $250 charitable deposit. Here it says, well, while the $1,000 is age-free restricted, any child under the age of 18 with a social security number can have a Trump account. So any child under the age of 18 can have a Trump account. If that child is too old to get federal money, then families can still utilize the account structure to invest their own money, right? But these started off, what it is structured, how the Trump account actually works. What it is structured as a unique tax advantage custodial investment account, essentially acting like a traditional IRA for kids. Parents are the sole custodians until the child turns 18. And contribution limits. Families, relatives, or employers can optionally contribute up to $5,000 per year to the account. Corporate matching. Major U.S. employers, including Dell, Chipotle, Morgan Stanley, and Comcast, have agreed to match the initial $1,000 if a parent works for them. So and that's cool, and that's pretty dope. If you work for Dell, Chipotle, Morgan Stanley, or Comcast, they're going to match the initial $1,000 in your child's account. Where the money goes, the money is managed by financial institutions like the Bank of New York, and Robinhood, and is automatically funneled into low B index fund tracking broad American and equities, S&P 500. Restrictions at 18. Child turns 18, the funds belong entirely to them. They can withdraw money penalty-free to buy a home or pay for college. And those withdrawals will be taxed at the child tax rate at the time. How parents enroll. Enrollment is currently being integrated directly into the hospital newborn birth registration process along with the Social Security application. So now, there you go. You don't even have to do it. They're doing it automatically when you're out of school. But if you've had a child born that prior to knowing about this, you need to go back. For children already born, parents must log into their IRS portal via ID.me, submit IRS Form 4547, download the official app from the TrumpAccounts.gov website. There you have it, man. Trump accounts. Free money for your child, man. If you had a child, I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to break back when I talk about what else we got going on. We're going to talk about this speech last night, man. This primetime speech. We're going to talk about the facts, man. Back. Okay, so last night, man, the president did a primetime speech, man, it was supposed to have been about what was our elections being stolen. Really, we were prepared to go live, man, on Mind Muscle Mastery. We were going to go live, bro, because I actually thought this dude was going to get on here and say some crazy shit. Like he was going to have government agencies take over things and all type of shit. You know what I mean? So we were prepared to go live to get that to you guys immediate. That's how serious we are, man, about getting this news in a form and fashion that you guys can understand. But really, the speech was about nothing, man. President Trump delivered a primetime address focused heavily on election security, the release of classified documents regarding the 2020 election, and the push for stricter voting legislation. He didn't really talk about nothing, man. He talked about stuff that we knew, declassified documents. Trump announced the public release of hundreds of pages of declassified intelligence alleging foreign access to U.S. voter data and plots involving Maduro, who they just went kidnapped. Especially that if he fucking his people over like that. Maduro regime in Venezuela while stopping short of claiming actual vote tallies for Twitch 2020. It was a push for the SAVE Act. That is a bill that he's trying to get pushed, man. That's going to pretty much make everybody have to re-register. If your name changed anytime you were registered, or make it re-register, you're going to have all type of proof of name change. If you got married, it's going to be crazy. We'll break it more down next week, that SAVE Act. But he used his platform to pressure the Senate to pass the safeguard voter eligibility. Legislation aims to require photo identification of citizenship to register to vote rather than mail-in ballots. You already got to have an ID. Election integrity goals, the overarching message urged Americans to tighten up election and the scary part is, man, this dude wants your voting information. The scary part is the question of what he's going to do with it if he gets it. We talking about a petty dude, man. We talking about a dude, man, who goes after all of his enemies, a dude who goes after people who ain't for him, a vindictive dude, a small dude. Even though he's the president, he's a small dude. So that's a question, man. That's something to watch out for. To say that don't need something we already got. Yesterday, Todd Blanche, man, he met with the Epstein survivors, man. And he only did that because he's going through a confirmation hearing to become an attorney general. And you had a Republican, let me get who was. I think it was Tillis. Man, who refused to vote for him if he didn't talk to the Epstein victim. Sad. Pathetic. that you got to be bribed to talk to. Well, I guess you probably do got to be bribed to talk to victim of your boss. Did I just say that? Right. So I guess you do got to be bribed to talk to the victims of your boss that's about to tell you all this stuff that your boss was doing. You know. So, yeah. The AG meeting yesterday. So the Epstein survivors were upset, man. When it was over with, they were upset, discouraged. They thought that they were actually getting an opportunity, man, to talk to somebody who would help them. Actuality, they were just talking to another Trump who's about to pardon Elaine Maxwell. You can bet that because she knows everything. Stay tuned. I'm telling you, follow the Muscle Mastery podcast. He's going to pardon Elaine Maxwell because she knows everything. Watch. Yeah. So ICE cracked down, man. You know that ICE Director Mullins, he was going to. He had issued a memorandum stopping car searches because the two murders that have taken place of the Hispanic men over the last week, both had to do with a car stop, just like the one in Minnesota. Not Petty, but the young lady who was killed in Minnesota. That was a car thing, so they decided to stop these car stops, right? And soon as the director tried to take it an adult position, a responsible position, your president came back out and said that they're not stopping car stops. So he changed Director Mullins. But what does that tell you about your president? If you got a person around you, all they do is steal, talk evil about people, talk bad about people, right? They're just evil. Everything that this person does is evil, right? Just about. I mean, outside of maybe of the damn Trump accounts. How do you feel as a person who voted for him? And how the hell would you ever support these people again? And we got midterms coming up in November, man. We've got a legitimately convicted sex offender who literally in your eyes, man, hired a gang of the Proud Boys, tried to pay them just now, tried to give them money off a lawsuit. He's suing his own IRS, even though the judge just shut all that down. Wake up, man. Wake up, man. This is a trying time, man. Hold your children, love your children, guide them in the right way, man. Pick up the good books, guide yourself in the right way. Get with Coach Bay, man. Get with Mind Muscle Mastery. Get with King and Queen Fitness Virtual. Right? This is where the truth is coming out, man. I'm telling you what God loves, and that's the truth, man. God don't like ugly, man. And my wife will tell you ain't too fond of pretty. All right, man. We're gonna get ready to get out of here, man. We are actually on our way to Mexico. New Mexico. For the Queen's birthday. So we will talk to y'all in Mexico. In a few days, we will talk to you on the podcast. Real quick before I go, I'll give you the latest update on the Carmelo Anthony stabbing. The high-profile Texas case involving 9-year-old Carmelo Anthony, convicted in June and sentenced to 35 years for the 2025 fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, has just exploded into its next legal battleground. Appeals officially filed. Anthony's newly formed, high-profile pro bono legal team officially met deadlines and filed a motion for a new trial, alongside a motion to recuse Collin County District Judge John Roach Jr. You don't know anything about that, man. He's friends with the boy who was killed. The broken gentleman's agreement. The core of the appeal centered on a newly exposed handshake deal. Defense attorneys alleged that before the trial, prosecutors agreed to hide Anthony's cell phone records if the defense hid evidence of bullying. violence and racist graffiti alleged tied to the. Yeah, we will definitely be coming back to this next week. Some updated information. The defense claims prosecutors reneged on this off-record deal, which successfully scored Anthony out of testifying in his own defense. They set him up. That's what it's looking like. I don't want to jump to conclusions. Looking like a setup. We'll find out. Now stay tuned, man. Mind muscle mastery, man. This is where we strive, man. We strive daily. We strive every minute, man, to become a master, man, to be in control of our own emotions, and to let God lead us in our every step, man. That is being a master, allowing the master to lead and being in control of your emotions, your thoughts, man, and where you going, where you leading, man, and who you leading and where you leading them to. This is Coach Bay. Talk to you soon, man. Keep your head up, man. Keep your eyes open. Let's go.